I was stirring pasta sauce when Tom's text came through. "We need to talk. Now. In person." My hand froze on the wooden spoon, the same one my grandfather carved before he passed. Tom never texted like that. In 15 years of friendship, through college finals and failed startups and his own divorce, he'd never sounded this tense. 20 minutes later, I slid into the booth across from him at Joe's Coffee. He didn't say hello. He just pushed his phone across the scarred wooden table, screen up. 3 photos. Nancy getting into a silver Mercedes. Nancy kissing someone in the driver's seat. Nancy walking into a luxury apartment building I didn't recognize. 3 days, Tom said quietly. "I followed her for 3 days, John. I'm sorry." I touched my grandfather's watch without thinking, the one he left me with that strange inheritance clause I'd never told Nancy about. The pasta sauce was probably burning at home. Nancy texted me an hour ago saying she was working late. Again. Who is he? My voice sounded normal. That surprised me. Marcus Chin. Real estate agent. Drives a leased AMG, rents at Riverside Tower. I ran a full background check. Tom's jaw was tight. He'd done this before for himself, when his own wife cheated 2 years ago. It cost him everything. He was protecting me the only way he knew how. I zoomed in on one photo. Nancy wore the anniversary necklace, the one she said was too expensive for daily wear. Apparently not too expensive for her dates. "Send me everything." As I walked to my car, Nancy texted, "Working late again, babe. Don't wait up, red heart." Timestamp, 8:47 p.m. Tom's photo showed her entering Marcus's building at 8:51 p.m. Please, before I continue, kindly share, like and subscribe for more interesting videos. I didn't confront her. That's what she expected, what she probably wanted. Drama, tears, the big blowout where I'd beg her to stay. Instead, I became a shadow. For 7 days I watched, documented, learned. The GPS tracker on her car was legal since the title was in my name. The motion cameras outside Marcus's building were positioned on public property. Everything by the book. My grandfather taught me that. Monday night, Nancy said she had a client dinner downtown. The GPS showed Riverside Tower. I parked 3 blocks away and photographed the building's entrance. A couple walked past my car, the woman crying, the man with slicked back hair identical to Marcus's profile. I lowered my camera and watched them argue. She was maybe the 3rd woman. Maybe the 4th. Wednesday I checked my bank account. The rent payment cleared. $2,400 to the apartment Nancy thought some landlord owned. I pulled up the LLC documents from my locked drawer, the ones I'd filed 18 months ago when I bought the property as an investment. Nancy's signature was on the lease, paying rent to JW Investments. Paying rent to me. I smiled for the first time since Tom's coffee shop meeting. Friday morning, I sat across from Richard Goldman, my attorney, with a folder 3 inches thick. GPS logs, photos, hotel receipts from the credit card Nancy didn't know I monitored, text message records I'd subpoenaed through my lawyer. "What exactly are you planning?" Richard asked, his reading glasses sliding down his nose. "I'm planning to disappear. But first, I need to make sure she can't follow me." I pulled out the document Richard had never seen. My grandfather's will, the inheritance clause. If my marriage ended before 5 years due to infidelity or abandonment, and I could prove it, $4.2 million transferred to my name. If the marriage succeeded past 5 years, I got $50,000. My grandfather had been betrayed once. He designed this as a test. Richard's eyes widened. "If you can prove what's in this folder." $4.2 million. I know. Draft the papers. That night, Nancy came home at 11. I was sitting in the dark living room waiting. "Baby? Why are all the lights off?" "We need to talk." Nancy turned on the lights. I watched her face, memorizing this moment. The folder sat on the coffee table between us like evidence at a trial. "What's wrong? Did something happen at work?" "A friend of mine saw you getting into someone's car last week. A silver Mercedes." Her face flickered. Just for a second. Then the mask came back, perfect and practiced. "What? John, what are you talking about? Who told you that?" "Doesn't matter." I didn't believe it at first. "Good, because it's ridiculous. I've been working so hard lately and now you're accusing me of..." So I did my own investigation. I opened the folder. Slowly. 1 page at a time. Photos of her and Marcus kissing outside his building. GPS logs showing every lie about working late. Hotel receipts she'd charged to the credit card she thought I didn't check. Text messages I'd recovered through phone records, the ones where she called him baby and said she couldn't wait to finally be free. Nancy's face went white. She sat down, stood back up, started pacing like a trapped animal. You've been spying on me? You're insane. This is controlling, abusive behavior, John. Answer the question. Who's Marcus Chin? Her hand shook. I can't do this right now. I can't. How long? John. How long, Nancy? Silence filled the room for 3 seconds. I counted them. Then her mask shattered completely. 5 months. Her voice turned cold, distant. We've been broken up for 5 months, John. I just didn't know how to tell you. My grandfather's watch felt heavy on my wrist. Broken up? Nancy, I paid your rent 4 days ago. That's not my problem. I told you we were done months ago. In my head. You just weren't listening. I stared at her for 10 seconds. She shifted uncomfortably, waiting for the explosion, the tears, the begging. Instead, I stood up and grabbed my keys. Okay. Okay? That's it? You're not going to yell? Fight for me? No. You're right. We're done. Good luck, Nancy. I walked out. Behind me, I heard her confused footsteps, her voice calling my name, but I didn't turn around. In my car, I pulled out my phone and texted Richard, execute phase 2. Then I smiled. I didn't go back to the apartment. I didn't call. I didn't text. I vanished like smoke. Nancy tried reaching me Monday morning. My phone went straight to a new voicemail I'd recorded. This number is no longer in service. I'd switched carriers, changed my number, updated every account she might trace. Tuesday she called my office. Sarah, my coworker who'd been leaving anonymous encouraging notes on my desk for months, answered with perfect professionalism. I'm sorry, John requested a temporary leave of absence. I can take a message. I'd briefed Sarah the night before. She understood without me explaining much. Some people just see through the surface. Wednesday was my favorite day. Nancy's credit card declined at brunch with Marcus. Then the second card. Then the third. She checked her banking app and found 73 cents in the joint account we'd opened 3 years ago. I'd closed it legally, transferred everything to my individual account. Richard had confirmed it was entirely within my rights since I'd been the sole contributor for 18 months. Thursday, Nancy received the certified letter. I knew because I'd paid extra for tracking. Delivered at 10:23 a.m. She'd torn it open at 10:24 a.m. based on the timestamp from the doorbell camera I'd installed months ago during maintenance. The eviction notice listed the property owner as JW Investments, LLC. Established 18 months prior. Primary stakeholder, John William. The apartment she thought she was renting from some faceless landlord? What? Every dollar she'd paid in rent had gone into my business account, building my case for financial fraud. Nancy called Marcus, hyperventilating. I knew this because Marcus's number was one I'd been monitoring through perfectly legal means. He hung up on her mid-sentence. His lease at Riverside Tower had ended the day before. The doorman would tell her he'd moved out. 6-month lease, paid in full, never coming back. Marcus was already in another city running the same scam on someone new. Nancy sat in her car outside Riverside Tower for an hour. The doorman had been polite but firm. Mr. Chen's lease ended yesterday, ma'am. He was a short-term tenant. 6 months. The exact length of their affair. She checked her phone obsessively. Marcus's Instagram, deleted. Facebook, gone. LinkedIn, deactivated. His office number played an automated message about disconnected service. She texted him anyway. I told John about us. We can finally be together, 2 hearts. The message showed as read 2 hours ago. No response. No explanation. Just silence. I knew all this because Jessica, Nancy's best friend, was actually my friend first. We'd met in college before I ever knew Nancy. Jessica had been feeding me information for weeks, disgusted by what Nancy was doing. She brags about it, Jessica had told me. She actually brags about having 2 men taking care of her. Nancy drove back to the apartment and found the second envelope taped to her door. Inside, a credit report with her name showing $53,847 in debt. Credit cards I'd never authorized, shopping sprees I'd never known about, a lifestyle funded by lies. My handwritten note was clipped to the front. Found some interesting documents while packing your things. You might want to talk to a bankruptcy attorney. The debt counselor's number is on the back. She unlocked the apartment with shaking hands. Empty. Not just my things. Everything was in boxes, neatly labeled, stacked by the door. My key to the apartment sat on top with a copy of the eviction notice. Taped to it, you have 30 days. Rent for those 30 days has been paid in full. After that, you're on your own. P.S. The credit card you opened in my name? My lawyer has the documentation. Don't contact me again. Nancy collapsed on the floor surrounded by boxes and cried. Jessica let Nancy stay at her apartment, but the friendship was strained. Nancy explained everything through sobs: the affair, the confrontation, my disappearance, Marcus ghosting her, the eviction, the debt she'd hidden for months. Wait, Jessica said, arms crossed. Back up. You told John you'd been broken up for 5 months while he was paying your rent. That's not the point. The point is he's been lying to me about owning the apartment. Jessica stared at her. Nancy, girl. You cheated on him for 5 months, lied about working late, used his money, and told him you'd already broken up with him in your head. What did you think was going to happen? I thought he'd fight for me. I thought he'd beg me to stay. Why would he do that? Nancy had no answer. For the first time she was forced to actually look at what she'd done. Her phone buzzed. Email from Goldman & Associates Legal. Subject: regarding dissolution of marriage, William versus William. She opened it with trembling fingers. Divorce papers. Grounds: adultery. 47 pages of evidence attached. Photos, GPS logs, witness statements, financial records. Petitioner requests full restitution of funds provided during period of concealed affair, totaling $31,400. Petitioner requests respondent be held liable for fraudulent credit application. Jessica leaned over her shoulder. How much did he give you during those 5 months? Nancy did the math. Rent, groceries, car payment, utilities, the random cash she'd asked for. Her face went gray. The email had a second attachment. A trust fund statement. Beneficiary: John William. Conditional inheritance clause. Value upon conditions met: $4,200,000. Nancy dropped her phone. She pulled up John's LinkedIn with shaking hands. His latest update from 2 weeks ago: excited to announce my Series B startup investment with Tech Ventures paid off. Grateful for the journey. She Googled Tech Ventures Series B exit. An article from last month: cloud security startup acquired for $890 million, early investors see massive returns. John had been a millionaire the entire time. For weeks passed like years. Nancy worked double shifts at a call center, stayed on Jessica's couch, dodged calls from credit agencies threatening lawsuits. She tried everything to find me. My office maintained I was on extended personal leave. My phone stayed disconnected. My old apartment had new tenants who'd never heard of John William. She finally cornered Tom at his gym. He was lifting weights when she approached, and his face hardened immediately. Tom, please. I just need to talk to him. 5 minutes. He doesn't want to talk to you, Nancy. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. I know that now. Tom set down the weights and turned to face her fully. You told him you'd broken up with him months ago while he was paying your bills. That's not a mistake. That's cruelty. Nancy's voice cracked. Where is he? Is he okay? He's better than okay. He's finally free. Tom started to walk away, then stopped and turned back. Oh, and Nancy? That guy Marcus you were seeing? John hired a PI. Turns out Marcus has been running the same scam on 3 other women. One of them filed charges for fraud. Thought you should know. You weren't special. You were just convenient. That night, Nancy dreamed about our wedding day. The way I'd looked at her like she was the only person in the world. She woke up crying. The next morning she saw me across the street from a coffee shop. Tall, confident walk, familiar silhouette. But I wasn't alone. A woman walked beside me in professional clothes, laughing at something I'd said. Real laughter. The kind Nancy hadn't heard from me in over a year. Nancy rushed outside, but by the time she reached the crosswalk we were getting into a car. I never looked back. Nancy waited outside my office building for 3 hours. She'd called in sick to her call center job. This was her last chance, she told herself. She had to make me understand. I finally emerged with Sarah. We were laughing about something from a meeting. Then Nancy stepped forward from behind a concrete pillar. John. I stopped. The smile faded from my face, but there was no anger. Just complete indifference. Like seeing a stranger. Nancy. What are you doing here? I needed to see you. You won't answer my calls, you moved. I have nothing to say to you. Sarah touched my arm gently. John, I'll wait in the car. She left, but not before giving Nancy a look that wasn't hostile, just pitying. That look hurt more than hatred would have. Nancy and I stood on the sidewalk while people walked past us, living their normal lives. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was confused, I made a terrible mistake and You weren't confused. You knew exactly what you were doing. Nancy started crying right there on the street. I didn't know how good I had it. I didn't know about the money, the inheritance, any of it. I swear I didn't. And that's exactly why I never told you. She looked up, mascara running. What? My grandfather told me something once. A person who loves you will love you broke. A person who loves your money will leave you when they think you found someone richer. You failed the test, Nancy. You failed it before you even knew there was a test. That's not fair. You set me up. I didn't set you up. I just didn't save you from yourself. Nancy grabbed my arm desperately. Please. I'll do anything. We can go to counseling, I'll cut everyone off, I'll prove I've changed. I removed her hand gently but firmly. Nancy, I don't love you anymore. I'm not angry. I'm not hurt. I'm just done. I walked toward Sarah's car, then stopped and turned back one last time. The divorce papers are final next week. Sign them. Move on. I already have. The story spread through our social circles like wildfire. Jessica showed Nancy her phone a week later. Their mutual friend group chat exploded. Did y'all know Nancy was cheating on John for 5 months and still taking his money? My boyfriend works with John and said he owns property and investments none of us knew about. Nancy fumbled the bag hard. The responses poured in. Wait, what? I always knew something was off about her. John was literally perfect and she did that? This is why I have trust issues. Nancy's social media became a nightmare. 200 followers gone in 2 days. Strangers in the comments calling her out. Messages from people she'd never met telling her she was everything wrong with modern relationships. Her mother called, voice tight with disappointment. Nancy Elizabeth, what is going on? Your aunt just called me asking if it's true you cheated on John. Nancy couldn't explain. What could she say? That she'd thrown away a good man for a con artist? That she'd been so focused on what she thought she deserved that she'd destroyed what she actually had? An email arrived from one of Marcus's other victims. The woman had tracked Nancy down through social media. The email was long, detailed, devastating. Marcus had used the exact same lines on all of them, promised the same fantasy life, vanished the moment things got complicated. You're lucky you found out when you did, the woman wrote. I lost $60,000 before I realized he was a con artist. He targets married women on purpose. Easier to manipulate, already have financial resources and too ashamed to report him. I hope you're okay. Nancy wasn't okay. She signed the divorce papers with Richard watching. Ms. William, soon to be Miss Chen again, you should know something. John could have sued you for the fraudulent credit card, the rent payments, all of it. He chose not to. Why? He said, and I quote, she'll punish herself more than I ever could. Richard closed his briefcase. He was right, wasn't he? My new apartment was everything the old life wasn't. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, modern furniture, space to breathe. I wasn't showing off. This was just who I'd always been under the modest facade I'd maintained for Nancy. Sarah was there, but we weren't dating yet. We were taking it slow, building something real on a foundation of genuine friendship. We were watching a movie, eating Thai takeout, talking like old friends. Can I ask you something? Sarah said during a quiet moment. Always. Why didn't you tell her? About the money, the investments, the inheritance. I paused the movie and turned to face her. My grandfather used to say, gold reveals character faster than anything. When I met Nancy, I wanted her to love me. Just me. Not my potential, not my portfolio, not what I could give her. Just the person I was. And she didn't. She loved the version of me that she could control. The good enough guy who'd worship her forever. The moment she thought there was someone better, someone richer, she jumped ship without looking back. Sarah moved closer, not romantically, just supportively. You deserved better. I know that now. My phone buzzed. Text from Richard, inheritance transferred. $4.2 million in your account. Congratulations, and I'm sorry for what you went through to earn it. I stared at the message. Didn't smile. Didn't celebrate. You know what the worst part was? I said quietly. What? I would have given her all of it, every penny, if she just loved me. Silence. Sarah didn't have empty words. She just took my hand and held it. My doorbell rang. I checked the camera feed on my phone. Nancy was standing in the hallway looking desperate, holding a letter. I didn't open the door. I used the intercom instead. Nancy, you need to leave. Her voice came through the speaker, crackling with desperation. John, please. Just hear me out. 5 minutes. I gave you 5 months. You wasted them. Nancy held up a letter to the camera. I wrote you something. Everything I should have said. Everything I didn't understand until it was too late. Slide it under the door. Then leave. She did. The envelope appeared under my door like evidence of everything that went wrong. I picked it up but didn't open it. I had no interest in her regrets. Nancy didn't leave. She stood in the hallway waiting, hoping. Marcus disappeared, she said through the door. He conned me just like he conned those other women. He was never going to give me a better life. He was using me. I know. I sent the information to the police. He's being investigated in 3 states now. Silence. Then, you helped me? After everything? I didn't do it for you. I did it because he's a predator and someone needed to stop him. That's the difference between us, Nancy. I do the right thing because it's right. You do things because of what you get out of them. More silence from the hallway. I lost my job. I'm filing for bankruptcy. I'm living with Jessica because I can't afford my own place. I have nothing left. That's unfortunate. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Nancy? That I'll rescue you? That I'll take you back? You looked me in the eye and told me we'd been broken up for months while I was still paying your rent. You felt nothing. Why would I feel anything for you now? She started crying, ugly crying that I could hear through the door. Because I love you. I know I didn't before, not the way I should have, but losing you made me realize. You don't love me. You love what I could have given you. There's a difference. I opened the door just a crack. Nancy looked up, hopeful. Goodbye, Nancy. I genuinely hope you figure out who you are and become someone better. But that journey doesn't include me. I closed the door. Locked it. Walked back to Sarah, who'd been standing there quietly, giving me space to handle this my way. Nancy stood in the hallway for 5 minutes. Then she left. 6 months later, Sarah and I sat in Joe's Coffee, the same place where Tom first showed me the photos. Full circle. This is where it all started, isn't it? Sarah asked. Where it ended, actually. The marriage was already over. I just didn't know it yet. We were officially together now, but we'd taken our time, built it right, made sure the foundation was solid. Tom joined us, grinning. You two are disgustingly cute. I hate it. I laughed, really laughed. Thanks for that night, man. You saved me from wasting more years. Anytime. Speaking of which, guess who I saw yesterday? Tom showed us his phone. A photo from a mutual friend's social media. Nancy, working as a waitress at a chain restaurant, looking exhausted but genuinely humbled. The caption read, "Proud of my friend Nancy for rebuilding from the ground up. Growth isn't easy but it's worth it, flexed biceps." Is it wrong that I feel a little bad for her? Sarah asked. No. That means you're a good person. I don't feel bad anymore, but I don't wish her harm either. She's just not my problem. My phone buzzed. Email from a charity I'd been supporting anonymously, a shelter for people escaping financial abuse. Thanks to your recent donation of $50,000, we've helped 15 families this month find independence. Sarah saw it before I could close my phone. John William, are you secretly a philanthropist? I felt my face heat up. My grandfather always said, the money you keep makes you rich. The money you give makes you wealthy. Sarah squeezed my hand across the table. He'd be proud of you. Not for the money. For how you handled everything. I'm proud of me too. That's new. Tom pretended to gag. Get a room. Actually, don't. You can afford a whole hotel now. We all laughed. Real laughter. The kind that comes from healing, from moving forward, from finding peace. At home later, Nancy's unopened letter sat on my desk. I never read it. I didn't need to. Whatever she'd written, whatever regrets she finally understood, they weren't mine to carry anymore. I'd moved on. And for the first time in years I was genuinely happy.